The fishing news is brought to you by Interlux Marine Paint, Fanatics of Ocean City, Maxima Fishing Line, and Okuma.
Got bait? That's the big question that is on everybody's minds in the last couple of weeks, as peanut bunker and finger mullet are stacked up behind the inlets and also making a move along the Jersey coast. I'm Jim Hutchinson with the New Jersey Delaware Bay edition of the Fisherman magazine. So many of the tackle shops now stocking up on the fresh bait, especially those finger mullet, socking some away as well. I stopped in to see John at Surf City Bait and Tackle earlier this week, just loaded with fresh mullet. A lot of fresh mullet at a lot of the tackle shops, including here where we're at Grumpy's Bait and Tackle in Seaside Park. Now, in the October edition of the Fisherman magazine, which just went to print on Monday morning, there's a great article in there from Carmine Tango. It's a piece on night poppin'. In fact, Carmine's been hitting them pretty well in the last couple of days as well. Throwing a lot of those poppers at night, stuff like the Stillwater Smack It Juniors, always a great opportunity to match those peanut bunker. And again, Carmine following the tactics that he described in the October edition of the Fisherman magazine. We also heard from Jimmy Bonanno this week, who sneaked away from Harry's Army and Navy earlier this week, was here at Island Beach State Park throwing a big Don in the Seaside Surf for a keeper striper. And as a matter of fact, he checked in that striper here at Grumpy's Bait and Tackle, a nice little keeper. We're talking to the folks at Grumpy's. They say, again, what we're saying, a lot of bait in the back, a lot of fish stacked up. Those finger mullet, peanut bunker, just acres and acres of fish. Hopefully they start to move. We're going to be watching the weather conditions for the rest of the week, see if this latest depression will start moving some of that bait along front. Although the folks here, Ray just said a surprising number of porgies, which is kind of surprising for the central Jersey coast, but good porgy action just offshore out front. So again, let's see what that weather does this week, but folks are popping them behind Island Beach State Park as well. A lot of the sod banks producing a lot of smaller fish, perhaps the residents throwing those poppers. We are hoping for a good bait bite this fall. It's been a few years, but with the amount of bait in the back, let's hope that we can see a good bait bite on those striped bass. I know that Kirsten Holloway, she eeled up a bass in the Great Bay area just earlier this week, so that's a good sign for the fish in the back. Meanwhile, that night weakfish action continues. Action for Sharpies like Jake Rosinski here. Again, throwing a lot of those plastics. It's been a surprisingly good weakfish bite throughout the state of New Jersey all summer long, and hopefully that continues through the fall. Again, soft plastics. It's surprising though, I was popping along a sod bank earlier this week and started throwing a tsunami swim shad. In a half an hour, I had a better fluke bite in that half an hour throwing a tsunami swim shad 3 days after the close of the fluke season than I did throughout much of the season. So there are plenty of fluke in the wash as well. If you want to play some catch and release in New Jersey while that season's closed. Of course, you guys in Delaware, you continue to fish for fluke all of 2006. Lucky dogs. Offshore, we bemoan the lack of tuna in our report last week, and you see it in this week's reports in the October edition. Although things did turn on a little bit. Ray and I were just talking about an eddy that materialized, that broke off in the Wilmington. In fact, that's where we found Eric Matizan. Found his way out to the Wilmington on Monday and hit up the fish pretty good. Gene Cuneo as well. He was in at Pier 47 Marina on Monday, weighed in a 67.6 pound yellowfin. That's a dream boat entry. We do look at some weather conditions though for the rest of this week. There is a depression off the coast. Northeast conditions, heavy heave all the way through Saturday. By Saturday into Sunday, we're looking at 3 to 5s. So keep that in mind. Again, we're still hoping that tuna bite will materialize. And as it does, don't forget about that Dream Boat leaderboard. You folks, you subscribers to the Fisherman magazine, if you take a notice at some of the recent weigh-ins on that leaderboard, yellowfin and mahi, it seems like that's a category that is prime for the taking. So if you're out fishing, if you're going offshore, don't forget about those weigh stations like Grumpy's here and all along the Jersey coast. Don't forget to bring those yellowfin and mahi in to weigh in. Because as you will see in that Dreamboat leaderboard, as we're entering the home stretch of the 2016 season, that is where the difference maker is going to be. Porgy as well. All right, you're getting out offshore some of those jumbo slab porgies could put you on that Dreamboat leaderboard. Of course, we're really waiting for that October opening of black sea bass here in Jersey and Delaware. I know there's some real hungry humpbacks out there, some big fish, so hopefully by the third week in October, we'll start seeing some more big knuckleheads on that Dreamboat leaderboard as well. Don't forget that October edition is out this week. We've got plenty of feature stories in there that you should be able to put into practice right now. Popping in the back, sea bass. There's a tuna chunk in piece by Pete Barrett. Of course, kayak black fishing as well, and a fall rundown on the trout stocking in the state of New Jersey, not to mention the weekly reports, of course, that are in there as well. So check in with the reports, see the October edition, and get in on the action right now, and we'll see you next week at thefisherman.com.
The fishing news is brought to you by Intellux Marine Paint, Fanatics of Ocean City, Maxima Fishing Line, and Okuma.